Oh, my dear friends. If you're past the age of 60, what I'm about to share could be a real game changer for your well-being. You might think that having a simple glass of milk before bed is one of the safest and most comforting habits imaginable. It feels wholesome, like a nourishing ritual we've known since childhood, something that helps us grow strong and stay healthy. But what if I told you that certain types of milk, yes, milk, could actually be a silent risk factor for a stroke while you sleep? No warning signs, no chest pain. You go to bed feeling perfectly fine, and then you wake up disoriented, unable to move your arm, slurring your speech, or perhaps not waking up quite the same at all. As Dr. Harold Grant, with decades spent helping older adults safeguard their brains and bodies, I've witnessed far too many instances where seniors thought they were doing something beneficial, only to suffer from quiet, devastating brain events that rob them of their speech, their balance, or their very independence. In this video, I'm going to reveal 5 different kinds of milk that may be quietly damaging your brain, particularly if you consume them at the wrong time, in the wrong form, or without any medical guidance. These insights are rooted in scientific research, clinical observations, and the heartfelt stories of patients, people just like you, who wanted to maintain their strength but were unaware that their nightly routine might be putting their health at risk. So, please stick with me, because the very thing you've always believed was protecting your health could be subtly undermining it, one glass at a time. And before we delve into the specifics, allow me to ask, are you new to this channel? If so, a warm welcome. I'm Dr. Harold Grant. If you appreciate straightforward, medically sound advice about aging gracefully, I'd be thrilled for you to become a part of our community. Click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another video that could truly make a difference in your life. And while you're here, please leave a comment to let me know where you're tuning in from. I always enjoy hearing from you. Now, let's get started. Milk type number 1, milk that's high in calcium and fortified with vitamin D. A stroke risk hiding in plain sight. You've heard it all your life. Drink your milk. It's good for your bones. And as we get older, many of us take that advice even more seriously. Milk that's high in calcium, often enhanced with vitamin D, has become a staple in the diets of many seniors. It's promoted as something that strengthens bones, supports heart health, and is doctor approved. But what if I told you that this well-intentioned habit could be quietly raising your risk of stroke while you're asleep? Let me tell you about one of my patients, Mr. William Harris, a 78-year-old retired firefighter from Michigan. He was the embodiment of discipline. Every night, like clockwork, he drank an 8-ounce glass of milk that was high in calcium and fortified with 1,000 IU of vitamin D. Keeps the bones strong, Doc, he'd say proudly. But one morning, his wife found him on the floor, confused, unable to speak, his right hand twitching, his balance completely gone. It was a silent stroke that had occurred overnight. No headache, no warning signs, just one moment and everything changed. Blood tests showed dangerously high levels of calcium and signs of vascular stiffening. The culprit, too much calcium being absorbed too quickly, combined with nighttime vitamin D intake. Here's something that many people don't realize. When vitamin D increases calcium absorption, and your body can't use all of it for your bones, that excess calcium doesn't simply disappear. It circulates through your bloodstream. And if it can't find a home in your skeleton, it ends up being deposited in your arteries. This leads to hardening of the arteries, higher blood pressure, and an increased likelihood of stroke, especially during the night when we're naturally dehydrated and blood flow is slower. And the early signs, most people tend to overlook them. Morning confusion, occasional lightheadedness, a bit of mental fuzziness. We dismiss it as just a part of getting older. But by the time a major stroke occurs, the damage has often been accumulating for years. Mr. Harris survived, but his speech never fully recovered. He now uses a walker. He's unable to drive. And every time he struggles to recall a word, he looks at me and asks, "Doc, was it the milk?" Yes, it was. So, if you're drinking milk that's high in calcium and fortified with vitamin D before bed, especially if you're also taking calcium supplements, please have a conversation with your doctor. You might be doing more harm than good. And don't assume that switching to low-fat milk will solve the problem. In fact, what's hidden inside that bottle could be even worse. Milk type number 2, low-fat milk with added phosphates, the heart-healthy option that could be harming your brain. Now, let's talk about low-fat milk. For years, it's been promoted to older adults as the smarter, cleaner, heart-healthy choice. It's featured prominently on cereal boxes, hospital menus, and senior-friendly meal plans. But what those labels often fail to mention is that many of these low-fat milks are fortified with inorganic phosphate additives, a silent chemical threat, particularly for those of us over the age of 60. Let me share the story of Mrs. Irene Schultz, a 74-year-old retired schoolteacher from Ohio. Irene was committed to doing everything right. She switched to low-fat milk, drinking a glass with breakfast and another in the evening. It's lighter and better for my heart, she told me. She believed she was on the right track, but gradually she began to feel unwell. At first, it was just some dizziness when standing up. Then her hands started to tremble. Her memory became increasingly foggy. She had 2 near falls in a single week. Her son brought her to my clinic. Blood work revealed something serious. Her blood pressure was erratic, her kidney function was declining, and her brain scans showed early indications of reduced blood flow. The cause: phosphate toxicity. You see, the phosphate additives found in processed milk are not the same as the natural phosphates present in whole foods. These are inorganic phosphates that are absorbed quickly and stored inefficiently, especially in seniors with declining kidney function. What happens then? These phosphates start to accumulate. They harden your arteries, disrupt your blood pressure, and increase your risk of stroke and cognitive decline. It doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps in gradually. That morning imbalance, that sudden mental fog, those aren't simply signs of aging. They're warnings that your brain is struggling. We were fortunate with Irene. She eliminated the low-fat processed milk and switched to whole, natural calcium sources like dark leafy greens and small portions of dairy under medical supervision. But the truth is, some of her memory loss proved irreversible. She stopped driving. Her independence was diminished. This is not an uncommon occurrence. More than half of the low-fat and skim milks on store shelves today contain inorganic phosphate additives, which are used to enhance their creaminess and extend their shelf life. They're not labeled as dangerous, but for older adults with any form of vascular or kidney issues, they can be toxic. So, if you're over 60 and still reaching for low-fat milk, please take a moment to read the label carefully. Look for terms like sodium phosphate, dipotassium phosphate, or tricalcium phosphate, and discuss with your doctor whether this type of milk should remain in your refrigerator, because sometimes the healthier option isn't necessarily healthier for you. And now we need to discuss something that millions of older adults are switching to: soy milk. They believe it can help balance hormones and protect memory. But what it may be doing is rewiring your brain's vascular system. Milk type number 3, soy milk with estrogen boosters. The healthy aging myth that may be rewiring your brain. Soy milk has become a popular choice for many older adults, particularly women seeking a gentle, plant-based alternative to dairy. It's marketed as being heart-friendly, supportive during menopause, and even beneficial for memory. Sounds ideal, doesn't it? But if you're over 60, the wrong type of soy milk, especially those fortified with phytoestrogens or labeled as hormone balancing, could actually be destabilizing your brain from the inside out. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Gloria Benson, a 69-year-old retired music teacher from Oregon. Gloria was proactive about her health. She started drinking soy milk 5 years ago after reading that it could support brain health and ease hormonal changes. She particularly favored the version labeled Estro Balance, which was fortified with added isoflavones, compounds found in soy that mimic estrogen. She drank it every morning, sometimes twice a day. At first, it seemed harmless. Then the symptoms gradually appeared. Morning fog, slight dizziness, blood pressure fluctuations, memory lapses. One morning, she found herself unable to maintain her balance. Her speech became slurred. Her husband rushed her to the ER. It wasn't a major stroke, but her brain scans revealed a deeper story. Vascular inflammation, disrupted blood flow regulation, and signs of silent ischemic damage, tiny strokes that had accumulated over time. What had happened? The phytoestrogens in soy can act like weak estrogens in the body. That's not always a negative thing. In some cases, they might be helpful. But in older adults with fragile blood vessels or hormonal sensitivities, they can disrupt the natural rhythm of your vascular system. These compounds can cause blood vessels to widen or constrict unpredictably, trigger migraines, interfere with blood pressure regulation, and amplify the effects of medications like blood thinners or hormone replacement therapy. In Gloria's case, she wasn't taking any medications. She simply trusted the label. But repeated daily exposure to plant-based estrogen-like compounds slowly weakened her vascular resilience. Her brain paid the price. Now, she attends speech therapy twice a week and lives with the fear of experiencing another silent stroke. And here's the issue. Most soy milk products don't clearly list their isoflavone content. Even plain soy milk without added estrogen boosters contains these hormone-mimicking compounds. So, if you're over 60 and drinking soy milk to balance hormones or protect your memory, please pause and consult with your doctor, taking into consideration any medications you may be taking. Consider whether you've been experiencing subtle changes, such as foggy mornings, fluctuating blood pressure, migraines, or speech changes. What feels natural isn't always neutral. And if you thought soy milk was the only plant-based option with risks, wait until you hear what happens when older adults drink sweetened or flavored milk products before bed, because those can quietly manipulate your blood sugar levels and starve your brain of what it needs most: stable energy. Milk type number 4, sweetened or artificially flavored milk. The sugary sip that starves your brain. Now, let's discuss something that appears harmless but can be surprisingly dangerous. That vanilla almond milk, lightly sweetened oat milk, or even sugar-free coconut milk sitting in your refrigerator. If you're over 60, even a small glass of flavored milk before bed could be causing your blood sugar to spike, triggering insulin crashes, and silently damaging your brain's blood supply. Let me tell you about Mr. Clarence Doyle, a 72-year-old Vietnam veteran from Nevada. Clarence was health conscious. He replaced cow's milk with flavored oat milk, choosing the one labeled with just 6 grams of sugar and no artificial colors. He added it to smoothies, his oatmeal, and even drank a warm cup in the evening to unwind. But then his mornings took a strange turn. He'd wake up feeling foggy. Sometimes he'd stand in the hallway and forget why he was there. One morning, he collapsed, not from a stroke, but from sugar-induced vascular instability. His brain scan showed early signs of inflammation in regions responsible for memory, balance, and focus. His blood work revealed unstable blood sugar levels, with spikes and crashes, and low-grade cerebral blood flow disruption. Why? Because even a small amount of sugar, especially at night, can cause blood sugar spikes followed by crashes while you sleep. Increased insulin resistance, especially in aging bodies, and inflammation in the tiny blood vessels that nourish your brain. And here's the twist. Many sugar-free milk drinks use artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame. These don't cause sugar spikes, but they still confuse your brain's reward system. They trick your metabolism, lead to overproduction of insulin, and weaken the body's ability to regulate blood pressure overnight. For Clarence, that seemingly innocent cup of flavored milk wasn't helping him unwind. It was sending his brain into overdrive and exhausting his system when he needed rest. He's since switched to real food and unsweetened hydration. His balance has improved. His memory is sharper. He told me, "Doc, I had no idea that one glass of milk could mess me up that badly." So, if you're drinking sweetened almond milk, flavored oat or coconut milk, or no sugar-added products with artificial flavors, check the label carefully. Look for added sugars, evaporated cane juice, brown rice syrup, sucralose, or natural flavoring. These additives may not seem dangerous, but for your brain, especially after 60, they can create a roller coaster effect that leads to confusion, inflammation, and over time, tiny, undetected brain injuries. And if you think this is the worst of it, the most deceptive product might actually be sitting in your cabinet right now. Those powdered nutrition drinks made specifically for seniors. The ones that promise to boost memory, strengthen your bones, and protect your heart. But when taken without supervision, they can become a toxic cocktail for your brain. Milk type number 5, powdered milk formulas for seniors. The brain-boosting illusion that can backfire. Now we arrive at perhaps the most dangerous form of healthy milk for seniors. The kind wrapped in promises. You've seen them. The big shiny tins at the pharmacy. Labels that say Senior Complete Nutrition, supports brain health, memory, plus strength in every scoop. These powdered milk formulas, marketed directly to older adults, often contain megadoses of vitamins and minerals, plus added protein, fat, and fiber to cover all your needs in one drink. But what happens when these shakes are taken without medical supervision? Let me tell you about Mrs. Linda Mayfield, a 76-year-old widow from Colorado. Linda had been drinking a powdered senior supplement every morning for months, 2 scoops mixed with water. She believed she was giving her brain a boost. It was easy, convenient, and advertised as all-in-one support. But instead of feeling energized, she began to feel dizzy every morning, off balance, foggy, and forgetful. Her ears rang constantly. When she came to see me, she was afraid she was developing dementia. But what we discovered was even more alarming. Her labs showed excessive calcium levels, toxic levels of vitamin D, vitamin B6 above the upper safe limit, and elevated blood pressure peaking 30 minutes after her morning shake. Her brain scans showed vascular inflammation, and her kidneys were struggling to clear the nutrient overload. Here's the hidden problem. These formulas often combine high doses of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and E. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, these don't simply flush out of your system. They accumulate in your body, especially in seniors with slower liver or kidney function. They also include calcium levels far higher than needed. And when calcium floods the bloodstream but isn't absorbed by your bones, it gets deposited in your arteries, including the small vessels that feed your brain. And don't forget the omega-3s and memory herbs they throw in, often in doses that interact poorly with blood pressure meds, statins, or even blood thinners. The result, a perfect storm inside an aging body. What looks like dizziness or just getting older may actually be a brain overwhelmed by excess. Linda didn't need a brain supplement. She needed clarity, balance, and a nutrition plan built for her body, not a generic formula. We stopped the powder and replaced it with whole foods, real meals. Within 4 weeks, her balance improved, her blood pressure stabilized, and her memory sharpened. She smiled at me one morning and said, "I got myself back, Dr. Grant." So, if you're taking a powdered formula without checking your vitamin D and calcium levels, kidney function, and medication interactions, you could be silently harming your brain, even with the best of intentions. Now, don't worry. I'm not here to leave you scared and uncertain. Coming up next, I'll show you exactly what you should eat and drink each morning to support brain clarity, circulation, and aging well without relying on hidden chemicals or trendy powders. Part 6. What to eat and drink instead to protect your brain after 60. Alright, my friends, let's shift from warnings to solutions. After all this talk about what not to drink, you're probably asking, so, Dr. Grant, what can I drink instead? Good question, because the answer is not another powder, not a fortified milk, and certainly not a sugary oat beverage. If you want to support your brain health after 60, here's what to focus on. Start your day with a BrainSmart plate, not a magic shake. Let me introduce you to Carol Lyman, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Pennsylvania. Carol was exhausted, dizzy in the mornings, and forgetting where she put her reading glasses almost every day. Her kitchen counter was crowded with vitamin drinks, soy milk, and powdered senior nutrition shakes. But none of it was helping. In fact, it was overloading her system. So, we cleared her counter and built her a real food breakfast instead. Every morning, Carol now eats one soft-boiled egg for choline, a nutrient that supports memory. Half an avocado loaded with healthy fats that nourish brain cells. One slice of whole grain toast for slow-burning energy and stable blood sugar. A handful of blueberries full of antioxidants that fight cognitive decline. A glass of room-temperature water to rehydrate her brain after sleep. A few walnuts rich in omega-3s to reduce brain inflammation. And do you know what happened? Within 3 weeks, her dizziness vanished. Her memory felt sharper. Her mood lifted. She stopped using her cane. No gimmicks, no powders, just food that works with your body, not against it. Why this works? Choline from eggs supports memory. Healthy fats from avocado protect nerve linings. Whole grains keep insulin steady, preventing brain fog. Antioxidants in berries reduce free radical damage in the brain. Omega-3s from walnuts boost mood, cognition, and circulation. Water supports optimal blood flow and flushes out overnight toxins. No artificial sweeteners, no hidden estrogens, no megadoses your kidneys can't handle. Just real nourishing food that keeps your brain sharp and your balance steady. Bonus tips to support your brain naturally. Hydrate early. Drink at least 8 to 12 ounces of water within 30 minutes of waking. Avoid milk first thing. It can trigger insulin spikes and slow hydration. Go outside for 15 minutes of sunlight. This supports natural vitamin D synthesis without risking an overdose. Move gently. A 10-minute walk after breakfast helps circulation and blood pressure regulation. Limit supplements to what's truly needed. Ask your doctor to run a nutrient panel before you take more pills. Eat more colors. Greens, oranges, purples, reds. The more natural colors you eat, the more brain protective compounds you're getting. If you take nothing else from this conversation, take this. Real food heals. Over-fortified senior products can quietly harm. Your brain doesn't need another miracle milk. It needs you to stop, think, and nourish it with what it actually understands. The key isn't in your fridge or your pharmacy. It's in your awareness, your daily choices, and your willingness to ask questions. You've made it this far. That means you're serious about protecting your mind, your balance, and your freedom. Before you go, let me ask, what's one habit you're going to change after hearing this? Drop a comment below. And if this video helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the truth is, you're never too old to start protecting your brain, and you're never too wise to learn something new. I'm Dr. Harold Grant, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll talk about how to rebuild your memory naturally without medications or tricks. Stay curious. Stay kind to your body.